This is the YOB ConvoCast, one-on-one conversations with your other brother's authors, community members, supporters, and friends.
What's up, friends, and welcome back to the YOB ConvoCast conversations with our other brothers in this community. Today's guest is so special. I rarely invite this guest to the ConvoCast because we hear from him quite a bit on our main show, the YOBcast. He's actually the second most heard voice that you'll hear on that show. He's been on over half. I think that's like 50 or 60 episodes now at this point. So you hear him a lot over there, but every once in a while, I like to rope him in, fish him in for these little one-on-one episodes. It's our other brother, Ryan. What's up, Ryan?
Hey Tom, so good to be here joining you one-on-one for a ConvoCast. Very exciting. Thanks for having
Yeah,
me.
yeah, it's so good to have you from the City of Oaks, as always. And
Yeah.
yeah, no, I've been wanting to have this conversation with you for the couple months that I've known about this event that you're planning. So we're going
hmm
to talk about that event very shortly, imminently, actually. But before we just started recording, you said you had a story about how hot it is. So I need you to
Yes. Yes.
tell
And
me
it,
the
it
story.
contains perhaps a little bit of an apology for this podcast. So
Uh-oh.
uh I'll start at the beginning, which is lunchtime. Normally at lunch, I have this is like my everyday lunch. I have this like protein smoothie with like spinach in it and
Mm.
frozen fruit. And I always, it's a very cold meal. And so I always get cold. And sometimes it's like just a cold that I have a hard time shaking. And it's very frustrating for me to be sitting inside in like the air conditioning and like freezing in the summer, right? So I tend to get very enthusiastic about getting warmed up after lunch. And so I've taken to like sitting outside, like in the sun for a little bit after lunch to like warm back up. And that's usually really nice. Um, well, today I like laid down in the sun for like 10 minutes and then I came back inside. I got really warm. I came back inside and I was like a little bit dizzy and I felt sick to my stomach and just
Whoa.
like I wasn't feeling very good. And I'm pretty sure I just like gave myself heat exhaustion just by like laying outside for like 10 minutes. And so I've been like recovering from that all day. Like I had to just like leave work early and like just lay down and drink cold water and like take
I
it
don't.
easy. So
I don't want to make light of your body or your situation. The first thing that came to mind was, the fairy tale about the princess and the pea, like laying down on the
Uh-huh.
mattress and
Uh-huh.
like, oh, there's a pea. It's like my back is killing me.
Yeah.
I felt the pea through the
No,
PEA, the,
it's
the
yeah.
pea,
Uh-huh.
through the mattress. But no,
Uh-huh.
I've 10 minutes of heat. I'm sure there's a difference between a pea under a
Uh
mattress,
and
but
I
yeah.
maybe I don't know what it was because like I've taken that much heat before and it was fine. Like I'm a big sauna
Mm,
person. But
yeah.
maybe something about the sun or maybe like having just had lunch, maybe like on a full stomach. I don't know. Like it was something didn't hit me right with it. So
Yeah. You think one
but
day, I mean, we already have so much of our health digitized with like Apple Watches and stuff like that, all these different apps that measure your sleep and all kinds of stuff like that. You think one day we'll just be able to look at our phone or look at a chip implanted somewhere in our body and we'll be able to just like know what all of our levels are at all times, like if our blood sugar is low or if we need more sodium or if we need more whatever. Like, do you think that that could be an imminent? That way, when you lay down in the sun and you start to feel like you could look down and be like, oh man, I don't have enough, whatever, whatever you need.
I think we're gonna have that, but it's gonna be like frustratingly inaccurate or lagged or something. Like,
It's like I was feeling this way 3 hours
yeah.
ago. This is not what I'm currently experiencing. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I see a lot of advances in the self-care department, both in good
Yeah.
ways and
Yeah.
probably like really tedious, annoying ways too.
Yeah.
But I'm
Anyway,
trying
I
to get
was
there.
worried about recording this for much of the day because I was like, what if I'm just like super spaced out or like just not, I don't know.
Well,
So
if you
we'll get
slump
through it. We'll get through it.
over,
It's
I
good.
got 911. I got 911 at the ready. If I see you slump over, I'm hitting it and we're gonna get you coverage that you need.
Send them
So
with a glass of ice water.
splash it in your face. Uh, well, thanks for sharing. The reason we were starting to talk about heat is because I'm recording in like an 80-degree apartment without air conditioning, and I've got
Oh
some
my
fans
gosh.
going, and I shaved my head, so I'm like rocking the military cut at this moment in time. So that's kind of how we got off on that little tangent
Mhm.
before, and now during this recording. So there you go. Got
Well,
our
stay hydrated,
listeners.
Tom. I found out it's
Oh,
very important.
I got my always got my
There
water
you go.
during a podcast, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ryan, you told me about this event you were putting together a couple months ago, I think. And it's one of those like proud brother moments. I was like, oh,
Hmm.
Ryan's putting together is it a conference? Is it officially a conference, an event? What are you doing? What are you crafting?
Yeah, I'm calling it a conference. And in fact, the full title is Oaks, as in City of Oaks.
Uh-huh.
Oaks, a
Shout out.
conference on singleness and belonging in the body of Christ. So,
No way. Singleness and
yeah.
blind. So you're putting together a singleness conference because Lord
Hmm.
knows we have marriage conferences out the
Yeah.
wazoo.
Yeah. I
Was
mean,
that the
kind of
inspiration
the
because we have so many marriage conferences? So you're going to say, I'm going to do a singleness conference.
pretty much I've been kind of pitching it to people as picture a marriage conference, but about singleness. And really it came out of like my church did a marriage conference last year in October and I heard about it and I was like, oh well, good for them, I hope it's good. And then I was reflecting on how like 2016 Ryan would have been pretty salty and like no one
Mm,
ever has a singleness conference.
mm,
Where's the singleness representation and where are like the single voices and where's the positive vision of singleness and discipleship for single people? But 2026 Ryan was like well, what would that look like? What would a singleness conference look like? And so I started to sort of daydream about it and then like write down some notes and write down some thoughts and started to talk to people about it. And I realized, oh, I think I should actually try to make this happen. So over the course of the year, I've been kind of making plans and putting it together and coordinating with my church and getting the buy-in and getting the speaker lineup and now it's official. We're receiving RSVPs and registrations, and it's going to be September 26th. It's a Saturday. It's going to be 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Yeah, I'm just trying to get the word out to everyone. So far, we have a few people coming in from across the state, and I would love to get our first out-of-state registrant too. So
ooh.
everyone is invited. Everyone in the whole wide world.
Call to action. We'll put
Yeah.
our millions of listeners out there. They are
Yes.
now
Yes.
in the know about this.
Yeah.
So in Raleigh, North Carolina,
Yes.
your church,
It is called Vintage Church and it is in downtown Raleigh.
and it is, I've been there several times, Ryan, and it is a beautiful church,
Hmm.
just aesthetically
Hmm.
pleasing when I walk in. It's not no shade to like your strip mall carbon copy modern evangelical churches that we see popping up today, but your church is
Hmm.
just a beautiful building, a lot of character, and just beautiful people too. I've gotten to meet some fellow churchgoers that you go with,
Yeah.
and so yeah, it's a great
Hmm.
place. So you said everyone's welcome. So married people are welcome to go to this.
Yeah. I have a few married friends who are coming just to, well, kind of support
Hmm.
me, but also because
Yeah.
they believe in my message or this message and they want to learn and they want to hear what we have to say. I'm really trying to provide a perspective and voices and stories from different walks of life in singleness. Like I have a
Mm.
certain perspective I bring as a queer side B man, um, but I don't want that to be the whole thing. So one of my speakers is a single woman pastor locally. Um, and then I'm working with her to put together a panel discussion with different single stories, whether it's divorced or widowed or just long-term straight single person. just to try to give a little perspective from all these different directions.
I love that because years ago when I was just so wrapped up in my own singleness, like I just assumed that everyone else is on the market and everyone else is gonna they're in the dating
Hmm.
pool. If you're attracted to the opposite sex in the church, you are officially on the market in the dating pool if you are
Hmm.
not married. And maybe a lot of them, maybe even a majority of them are, but there are certainly people that, like you just mentioned, widowed, divorced, all kinds of limitations, caretakers, people who are just not in the space to be in a romantic relationship for one reason or another.
Hmm.
And I just love the opportunity because so much of our your other brothers, your other sisters, community members, are walking a road of singleness, and I just love the opportunity that we have to be the church to other single people who don't have a story of being a sexual minority, but can relate in a different but also very similar way in our singleness. So I think this is like a beautiful idea. Have there been like, did you take inspiration from like singleness events or singleness conferences? Like where, like, how did you put this together? Like, I don't want you to necessarily spoil
Hmm.
what's going to happen for those 7 hours, but like
Hmm.
how did you put this together?
Well, I think I've drawn a little bit of inspiration from a lot of different places. I've never been to I guess to be honest, I haven't been to many singleness conferences, so I couldn't say with a total degree of certainty that this is completely novel. But I think from what I've heard from friends, a lot of singles events at churches tend to be focused on fixing singleness, like
Mm,
getting people to give people a place to pair off so that they can, shorten their season of singleness. Or they're sort of angled toward like learning how to date well, kind of. And so it still winds up being focused on like partnering off or getting married. I think my church has had a few single people organize some what I thought were pretty good like single social events over the past several years. So I definitely want to honor that history at my church instead of being like, no one's ever gotten this right before, right?
mm,
So there's that. I think there's some inspiration I'm drawing from Revoice, to be honest, where I really love at Revoice the liturgy that we read together and walk through together at Revoice. And so one of my visions for this is to put together some liturgies from like a singles perspective, like um, I'm calling it the everyday poignancies of the single life, whether
mm.
it's waking up alone or going to church alone or sitting in an empty house, or yeah, or like, struggling emotionally. Whoops, just dropped my AirPod.
Dropping your AirPod and no one's there to catch it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe we should leave that in. Um
You know what came to
when my
mind?
uh-huh.
My example was because you mentioned like just living alone, but like when you come home after a long day and you see the lights are off in your apartment or your house, your living place,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, well, there ain't nobody here. I'm here and I'm opening the door and it's quiet and it's dark inside. And if you're like me and you don't have air conditioning and it's 81 degrees inside, you just like have to,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's just like it hits you viscerally in all those
Yeah.
ways. And I think liturgies could be really, really powerful just for those simple things
Right.
to be pronounced and for all of us to like be like, oh yeah, I recognize that feeling.
Yeah, yeah, and the other inspiration there is a book series called Every Moment Holy. I'm sure a lot of our
Yes.
listeners will be
Hmm.
familiar with it, but it's just a collection of prayers and liturgies to help you invite God and God's presence into little everyday moments of your life, whether it's like making coffee or planting flowers or
Mm.
um, starting work or building a campfire, stuff like that. So that was another inspiration for this focus on liturgy.
And we read Liturgy of the Ordinary by Tish Harrison Warren
Hmm.
for our book club last year, I think it was. And very
Yeah.
similar concept of just like, yeah, I forget which all of, she had like 12 different examples of like making tea or making your
Hmm.
bed or brushing your teeth. It's just like inviting
Hmm.
God into those quote unquote little moments. And it's just
Yeah.
honestly, liturgy has just like, as someone who wasn't raised in any kind of liturgical fashion tradition, like it's been really powerful to just like bring God into those moments of
Hmm.
smallness because Jesus walked among us and Jesus did I don't know if Jesus made tea or brushed his. Well, he had to do whatever the first century equivalent of that. All of those things are. He did all of that too. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And a stretch goal for this event is to compile like a collection of liturgies like that then I can
Mm.
print and send people home with. I have written a handful. I've gotten a few other collaborators to write a few more, but I'm also sort of actively looking for collaborators on that. And I have this like Google document where it's super organized for everyone to sort of like
Mm.
contribute to it. So I'm also putting out the call here and now
Could
for anyone who
I
wants to contribute a liturgy.
could I write the one about coming home to a dark apartment and it's dark
Yes.
and there's no air conditioning and the windows are closed?
And you
Could I
know
do
what?
that?
You just do such a good job with the benedictions of
Hmm.
the Yobcast that I feel like that
I
sort of
honestly would be so honored. What's like the length that you're looking for so people know what to chew on if they're out there listening? What would be like the ideal, or like what would be a window of length of how long a liturgy would be?
what a great question. I have no idea.
Somewhere between like a couple sentences and a couple paragraphs,
Yeah,
maybe something like that.
probably yeah, a couple sentences to like few hundred words maybe. I think
Hmm.
some of the every moment holy liturgies are probably up to a good like 1,000 words. So
Right. Sometimes, yeah. I mean, it could be
yeah.
that long, or sometimes it could be short and sweet and just get to
Hmm.
the point, get to the emotion, get to the feeling, and
Hmm.
what you're inviting the Lord into. No, I
Yeah.
think that's so cool. I'm hoping that, yeah, if there's someone out there, if you want to reach out to Ryan, Ryan, do you want to put your email out there? How should people get in touch with you if they're curious to learn more about this conference?
Yes. I will put it, let's put it in the show notes. When
Yes.
I chose my email address, I made a mistake and chose a very long email address that is difficult to communicate verbally.
Yes.
And
As
and
somebody
now it's
with the
too
last
much.
name Zuniga, and like, how do you spell that? Yeah, it's just like, oh gosh, I
Yeah.
need easier to say emails. So we will put your email in the notes along with a little write up, a little linkage to your event,
Hmm.
and that way people can check it out if they're either in the state of North Carolina or if they live beyond these
Hmm.
borders. That would be exciting
Yeah.
to see if someone came from California
I would be amazed.
or
And
Washington or the UK.
how
Somebody.
beautiful would that be?
I would love that. No, for reals. That would be so awesome. Were there any other
You,
things you wanted to
mhm.
share about this conference?
Yeah, you were sort of talking about the structure of the conference, and I talked about
Yeah.
liturgy a little bit, but I have been kind of building it with like three speaker slots. And so I'm going to be giving a talk for the first slot. And then I mentioned our local pastor, another local pastor, Amanda, who will be giving a talk in another slot. And then one of the pastors at my church, Juan, who has worked with single people a lot in a previous pastoral role in Boston, will be giving a talk as well. And then we'll have a that panel discussion I mentioned. And really, like when I thought about what kind of content I want in this conference, I kept going back to this thought experiment of like, what if, imagine your phone rings one day. Well, first of all, imagine you're single if you're not single, but imagine your phone rings one day and it's your like future self in like your future self's deathbed. And your future self is just calling to say you're going to be single for the rest of your life. And like, how many of us would just receive that as like bad news? Like what kind of feelings
Mm,
would that bring up? Is it like failure, shame, like fear, anxiety, despair, loneliness? Um and and why? It's because we just like struggle to envision the long-term single life as good and beautiful. And so like contrast that if with like imagine your future self calls you from your future self's deathbed and says, "Hey, like tomorrow you're gonna meet a really great person and you're gonna hit it off and you're gonna get married and you're gonna build a life together and raise kids together and there are gonna be hard moments, right? Your future self is honest about that. There are going to be hard times, but at the end of your life, you will have built a life with somebody else, and it's just going to be a lifelong thing in your life, right? Now, how many of us would like receive that as good news, right? Like that's sort of the Christian cultural instinct. And to be fair, it is good news, right?
Mm.
Like that, like marriage is good and it's a beautiful thing. And so it would be good news to find out that you're going to be married for the rest of your life. But what enables us to like receive that as good news? And I would say it's like three things, and this is going into like the structure of the conference. At least three things, but three things that came to mind were like a fundamental belief that marriage is good and beautiful, just essentially on its own, just by existing. And so to be married is good and beautiful. Um, Another thing is a fundamental belief that God uses marriage as a force of good in the world, that God uses marriage to build his kingdom. And we as Christians believe that. And we believe it because it's true. And then a third thing that enables us to believe that lifelong marriage is good news for us is a fundamental belief that God uses marriage in our own lives to build us and cultivate us and sanctify us. And that's also true. You know, how many times have you heard a married Christian say, how God is using their marriage to refine them and grow them, you know, to teach them more about sacrificial love and so on. And so with those like three things in view, that are like ways that we reasons why we would receive that news about lifelong marriage as good news. Like, can we take those things and hold them in view for singleness and start to shift our beliefs about lifelong singleness?
Mm.
So like, can we start to believe that first point, like lifelong singleness? Singleness is fundamentally and essentially good and beautiful. That there is something just on its own, just by existing, that's good and beautiful about singleness. You know, can we believe that God is using singleness as a force of good in the world? That He's using singleness, single people, single lives to build His kingdom? And then can we believe that God is using singleness in our lives to cultivate us and grow us and sanctify us? And how are the ways that can be true? And so like with all that in mind, like can we start to shift our outlook of lifelong singleness to see it as something hopeful, something important, something that is not just like a temporary season to be survived, but just a lifelong thriving that
Mm.
is available to us, that many of us God is calling us to. So that's what I hope to share. And you know, as a non-straight person trying to honor God's marriage and sexual ethic, you know, like I received that call, you know. Like I received that call that said you're going to be single for
Mm.
the rest of your life. And so I've had to do a lot of work to start to shift my perspective um and I just really want to share that with my community, share that with whoever could benefit from all of those reflections and that experience.
Mm.
um and in fact, as I was just like talking just now, I just remembered, Tom, the very first podcast episode I was on.
Uh-huh.
And this is sort of like in the apocryphal, like these podcast episodes are, don't go looking for
They're
this because you won't
they're
find
they're
it.
no longer
Sorry.
they're no longer spirit inspired
No
apparently.
longer with us. Um that first episode I was talking about this singleness and talking
Mm.
through sort of what I had learned from this book, Redeeming Singleness by Barry Danilak, and sort of walking through the scriptural
Mm.
points of singleness and marriage and offspring in the old covenants and the new covenants. And I guess I'm just doing the same thing, you know, thinking about the same stuff and teaching the same stuff over the past
No
10 years.
way. I forgot all about that podcast. As soon as you mentioned it though, I was like, "Oh yeah, we did do a singleness episode that
Uh-huh.
you like." I forget if you were a guest host on at that point or if you were how deep into the community you had been at that point, but like
I
that
was
was
I was a
early
guest.
days. Yeah.
I was a guest, and I think we had 5 total people on that episode, maybe. Like those were the days where we
Whoa.
were just like, everyone in the house, come on, we're recording a podcast episode.
I get so overwhelmed. And when there's more than 3 people on with all the tracks, separate tracks and editing each track, I'm like, I start to get really overwhelmed. These little
I
combo
would,
casts, two
uh,
tracks, I'm like, man, easy peasy.
I would go through and say all the names of the people, but I can't remember their like pseudonyms
Yeah, yeah,
that
they're
they
they're
use.
out there.
So
God bless
yeah,
them. But
yeah.
no, as you're talking about all the beautiful things about singles, I mean, honestly, it's one of the things when people ask me why I do what I do, or if they come at me with the clobber passages and they have their affirming take or affirming translation of the clobber passages, which are the 6 references to homosexual acts in the Bible,
Hmm.
like I was like, okay, there's a lot of gray in some of them. Some may mean this, may mean that. Words were different back then compared to what words mean now. But like at the end of the day, I look at the Bible from Genesis, literally Genesis to Revelation, and I see so many single people in a culture that, very mirrors a lot of what we see today, which is a very married culture. And there's so many like Old Testament, New Testament, all the different types of books of the Bible, so many single people represented, men, women, younger, older. And it's like, why is that? Why are the single people, why do they have so much of a voice in
Hmm.
scripture, and married people too? But I mean, so many single people, from Jesus himself to Paul and to
Hmm.
Ruth and Naomi, just have this beautiful friendship and story that happens in their own version of singleness. And it's just, I don't know, one of the things that just draws me to my status as a single man, I'm sure it does you too, is just like to see myself represented in so many characters in scripture, in so many different ways. And I just think it's a beautiful thing that we get to still like follow in their footsteps all of these centuries later.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And I don't want to get out too far over my skis and speak too strongly about things I don't know that much about, but my understanding is that like Christianity is basically the only of the like major monotheistic religions that affirms singleness the way it does.
Mm,
Like in uh in each of those other religions, like Islam and Judaism and even Mormonism, like singleness is just discouraged and is not held
yeah.
up as a worthy life, as a first class life. So that's something I love about Jesus's teaching and Jesus's example, and what we can take from scripture on that level too.
Yeah. It's beautiful, honestly. I'm really excited. I'm hoping to make it, Ryan. I'm hoping to be there. So
Yes,
I would
yes.
I would love to. Sadly, I am not from a non North Carolina state, um,
Hmm.
but hopefully, yeah, we'll get this side of the state represented anyway.
You have time to move.
Move to South Carolina, and
Just for a
no
month.
thanks. No, let's call to action to people out there. If you live in North Carolina, but if you live somewhere outside, you are welcome. Make a trek down to the city of Oaks. Ryan, what could they do if they're going to come to the city of Oaks for a weekend? Like, what could they do on Friday night, or what could they do on Sunday? Like, what are some hot spots in the city of Raleigh?
Oh boy. The art museum is very cool. The
Mm,
we have
yes.
we have some great sculptures and um at least one Monet, I believe. Yeah.
Ooh,
So
I remember taking a picture. Like, there's rings. That's the art museum in
yeah,
Raleigh, right? There's
yeah.
big like metal rings or something that are outside.
Yeah, some
Looks like a
iconic
looks like a
rings outside.
Stargate or
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very cool. There's that. There's great restaurants. If anyone wants restaurant recommendations,
Mm.
I can give them to you. Um, I feel like Raleigh can sometimes be a little bit of like it's a great place to live, but sometimes it can be a little bit of a weird place to visit where people are like, okay, I'm coming to Raleigh, what should I do? And I'm like, well, I can tell you all the best food to eat, but in between meals, we'll work on it.
Meals and drinks. You probably got that covered if you want
Yeah,
to
yeah,
email Ryan
yeah.
for some suggestions.
Right. In between meals, I've got a great conference for you to come
Mm.
to.
And we never talked about this on the Yobcast, but Raleigh now home to the reigning Stanley Cup champion Hurricanes. How
Yes,
exciting is
yes.
that?
Yes, I
Was
take.
there hurricane fever the last couple of months whenever they won that thing?
Oh yeah, there's been just like flags all over all over town, like
Hmm.
the Hurricanes flag, and people are very proud of it. It's very exciting. It's a very
Why
exciting time to be a Raleighite.
why are the Carolina Hurricane? Why is Raleigh's name the Hurricanes? To be a landlocked city as yourself, you're not on the ocean. You probably don't see many hurricanes. Why are you the Hurricanes? Do you know the answer to this? You're a sporty bro. Tell me.
Well,
You
I
love
mean, it's
hockey, right?
Carolina, right? It's for the Carolinas, which
Maybe
we,
it's for
I
the
mean,
whole
collectively we
Carolinas.
got a lot of hurricanes. Like, Tom,
Yeah.
don't tell me where you can't get a hurricane up there in Asheville.
I know. I just decreed Raleigh's never gonna get a hurricane. Meanwhile, Asheville had like a hurricane apocalypse a couple years ago. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it was not pretty. No, but that's Raleigh in a nutshell. Beautiful, beautiful capital city. Very lots of colleges, universities. Very smart. Very. It's a very nice city and lots of
Hmm.
oaks. Is so City of Oaks is. I guess we'll close on this. So you call your conference Oaks. Is there anything more
Yeah.
to it than that, or do you have a visual for what like I'm picturing just like a single oak tree. If I was going to
Mm,
design this, I'm like picturing a single
amazing.
oak tree,
Yes.
strong, steady through any hurricane.
Yes. Amazing closing question. This is great. So in my backyard, I have a very large white oak tree.
Mm,
And that is the species, not the color. And it is probably big enough that you would need like three people to like wrap arms around it, you know?
mm,
Like that's how big it is. And it's one of the things I love about my house. Getting out to look out my back windows and see this big oak tree. Um, and really, I've taken it as kind of an image of what I want my life as a single person to look like. Like I just want my life and my household and the life I build to be um, just like spread branches spread out where lots of different little creatures can find find shade and shelter and find a home. And I don't need, I don't need what I need in order to build that life isn't another person, it's God and his spirit. And um yeah, and I guess I worry a little bit that the image of like the single strong oak tree is um placing a little too much emphasis on like independence and not needing
mm.
anyone and just like that strength in all seasons, which is, that's not real life,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it could
Um,
be a tree in a
mhm,
forest. There could be lots of trees. I mean, it is the city of oaks, plural. I mean, there are
mhm,
other oaks surrounding that oak, I'm sure. And maybe
mhm.
like their roots are touching and getting all close together and supporting each other. I
Yeah,
don't know. I
yeah,
don't know. I'm not
yeah,
a botanist or whatever the right term is, so I don't know how trees
right.
work, but I'm
But
assuming that could be
yeah,
semi-accurate.
yeah. And at the end of the day, I was like kicking around different names and I thought about a name like Rooted for a while, but I was like, oh, that's too like, Christiany,
Christian.
like yeah.
Too
It's
Christian. I love oaks. Yeah, that
yeah,
works.
yeah. It felt fresh, it felt different. It didn't feel like generic Christian conference. So
Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited. I'm proud of you. This is awesome. I think it's going to be great. I look forward to the stories that come from it. So yeah,
thanks so much, Tom.
all the notes will be there. Email, link, reach out to Ryan. I'm sure he would love to hear from you. Any other closing thoughts, closing notes?
No, we'll post the RSVP link for anyone who wants to join and my email address for anyone who's interested in contributing content to our liturgies and prayers.
Yes.
The registration fee is $25 and it includes a light breakfast and conference materials and helps us make the conference happen. So um,
$25. That's a steal. What a steal for a day that could impact the rest of your life.
yes, yes.
You might show up and meet your significant other.
Don't say that, Tom.
Are you
However
banning?
many,
No, no
no,
romance
no.
here.
however many single people walk through those doors, I want at least that many single people to walk out. Okay.
Yes. No, yeah, I hear you. I hear you on that. Singleness is great. That's one of our goals, I think, in your other family is just like we have certainly married people and we love them and we're so glad that their stories are here and being told too. But like, how can we make singleness just sustainable, not just sustainable in a survival mode, but just like
Hmm.
thriving and abundant. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's
Hmm.
such in the DNA of who we are. And so yeah, when you told me about this, I was like, yes, that'll be a perfect podcast to do. So I hope people out there are listening. Hope you're already thinking about a liturgy you can write and email to Ryan. That would be so
Hmm.
fun, so cool. Just think about, yeah, I mean, just think about if you're a single person, like those moments, those quote unquote little moments of your day, and just think about how can you invite the Lord into that, and what does that look like? And I recommend Liturgy of the Ordinary. If you need some inspiration, Liturgy of the Ordinary to share some more in. Every Moment Holy is another great book as well, and there's lots of
Hmm.
books out there with liturgies. And I think, yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see your compilation of all of these. It's going to be great.
Yeah, yeah. And I forgot to mention this, but yeah, bring your own liturgy topic, or my
Mm.
Google document has just a bunch of like prompts, and you can just fill in one of the pages with your liturgy for that topic. So you don't even need to have this, brilliant, exciting idea like Tom just did earlier in the
Mm.
episode.
Yes, just came to me. It partly came to me because I am sweating through my t-shirt at the moment, so it was very, very present. But yeah, that's something I will be pondering in the days to come, Ryan, for sure. Check your email. Stay tuned.
Yes, amazing.
All right, y'all. Well, hope to see you in the city of Oaks for Oaks, end of September 26th. You said September
September
26th.
26th. Yes.
Boom. Yeah, it'd be awesome. Would love to see any of you there. Come say hey to Ryan, and if I'm there, say hey to me, and say hey to everyone. All the single people. Say hey to all the single
All
people.
the single people.
All the single people. All right, brother. Well, thanks for joining. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, I wish you all the best in this, and so excited to hear about it.
Thank you so much, Tom. Can't wait.
All right, y'all. Until we cast our next combo. Bye, friends.
Bye.
Your other family.